But we're doing our intro here. We got down deep and dirty into some draft rot. You brought the draft rot out early.
Oh, yeah, I did. A lot of Joe Milton talk.
A lot of Joe Milton talk.
A lot of Patriots talk.
We officially brought out these two beautiful awards in the White Man of the Week and the Game Ball. If you want to see that, zoom to it.
And we have a parlay that's going to win us tens of thousands of dollars.
Financial freedom. All that.
It's going to win me
picks
12
and
hookers.
Playoff picks and disbelief and more. Watch it. See you in there.
Yeah, okay, good morning, afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in. Dropping heat like every season. Underdog like Willie Beeman. Classic like Dom singing. Blasting like bombs.
All right. Sorry, beautiful people, about my lovely voice that I know you all love to hear. I'm a little under the weather. Not emotionally, just physically. So if I get you sick, beautiful people on the internet, it's my fault. All right. It's completely on me. You can tell your boss that it was because of the podcast I listened to. I'm Devin, that's Zane, and this is Buffet Sports. We're talking about the NFL and the playoffs. Let's get into it.
Alrighty. I have an opening segment.
All right.
I'm not going to tell you what this opening segment is about. I hope you'll be able to pick up where it's going. But it is going somewhere. This is all for entertainment purposes.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
So, I remember you were telling me about Nick Wright and his prediction for the New England Patriots.
Okay.
What they were going to do. They were going to get rid of Drake May. They're going to draft Shador and Travis Hunter. That's basically what he said, is that they're going to get both of them.
Now, pause. Keep in mind, one of his teams is a Super Bowl favorite, and he's already on to the draft. Continue.
So that's what he said.
Okay.
And at first, I thought it was unfounded and just like a completely wild take.
Okay.
And it was very unusual because usually guys don't put their sort of like, I don't know, they don't put themselves on the line like that where they make wild, outlandish takes.
I think you're not watching enough mainstream media than Pat.
I might not be.
Yeah.
But it stuck in my mind what he said about like the Patriots' decision to move from Drake May, get Shador and Travis. And I was like, that's so weird that he would say something so wild. Mm-hmm. But I am now starting to kind of understand what he's getting at.
Okay.
So I think Nick Wright had gotten information about what the Patriots were going to do this draft.
Okay.
And I think that information was the Patriots are extremely high on the first pick. They want the first pick really bad. First pick or bust.
Okay.
That's what I think Nick Wright got. And I think the rabbit hole he went down was getting rid of Drake May, getting Shador Sanders, and Travis Hunter.
Well, at the time that he said that, they had the first pick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they were going to trade Drake May for like a second or third for Travis Hunter or whatever. Yeah. And the reason why I think he got information that they wanted the first pick really bad is there was some additional information that came out when Joe Milton shredded the flipping Bills secondary.
Okay.
Right? He got interviewed after the game. This is while his coach was getting fired. He got interviewed in Joe Milton.
Joe. Okay.
And they asked him, like, when did you know you were going to be the starter?
Uh-huh.
He said, after kickoff.
Uh-huh.
So that's the closest that I've ever...
Well, he wasn't the starter.
Well, not the starter, but, like, when were you going to play? He said after kickoff. Mm-hmm. For a rookie to make his NFL debut, and they're telling him, like, after kickoff that you're going to go in, I think that's the closest thing you can get to tanking and sabotaging your pick and sabotaging your team for the first pick. I think that's as close as you can legally get to that. Me personally.
There's nothing illegal about it, but
nothing illegal about it, but like without getting into trouble by the NFL.
I don't think you can get in trouble for it.
You can get in trouble for tanking.
In what way, though?
Just tanking. If it is deemed that you are trying to lose games on purpose, you get in trouble for that. And I think that was the closest. I mean,
so you will lose like what, a 7th round pick?
No idea.
Okay.
No idea the remorse or the repercussions from that.
Okay.
But the information shows me that they really want this number 1 pick. Mm-hmm. But why do they want it? They have 2 rookie quarterbacks, and the top 2 picks are going to be quarterbacks. That's what everybody's been saying, is that they're going to be quarterbacks. So why did they want it so bad that they were willing to sabotage their rookie QB? Didn't go as planned because Joe Milton's a flipping animal, turned the Superman, and then they fire their head coach. Related? I'm not sure. But where I differ from Nick in that they're trying to get a quarterback is because of the Giants, who are sort of comedically in the same place, to where they had the first seed. They had not a rookie quarterback, but a backup quarterback turn the Superman, knocked them out, and now they are the third pick. But the Giants aren't really freaking out. We haven't really heard any information about the Giants. Their owner came out today, and he's like, they got to turn this around fast. But that was it. But how are you going to turn around this franchise who's in desperate need of a QB without drafting a QB? It doesn't make any sense.
And there's a couple guys that are going to be free agents this year that you can definitely grab.
100%. But to me, it doesn't make any sense that the New England Patriots, to what I believe, really wanted the number one pick. And then the Giants, who lost the first overall pick, are now sitting in the third pick. And they kept their head coach. They're not making any changes. They seem to be fine. So this is going to be a crazy take. But based off of the story I just told you, I think it has already been decided that Travis Hunter is a number one or a number two pick.
Okay.
That was it.
Okay. I mean, I don't think that's that outlandish. I think if you're the Patriots and you want a quarterback, obviously you want the first pick. If you want a receiver and you're going to keep Drake May, you've got Travis Hunter there.
Yeah.
I think there's better overall players that they can get.
But what I'm saying is that because of what I believe is information showing that they wanted the number one pick really badly, is that they were going to take Travis Hunter with the number one pick. And now that they are the fourth pick, they do not believe that Travis Hunter is going to go to their organization.
I think you're starting the draft route early.
100%.
I think you're starting 100%. The draft route early. I think, look, what's the draft order right now? Do you have the actual draft order?
Titans, Browns, Giants, Patriots.
Okay. So Titans, Browns, Giants, Patriots. Okay. I don't know. I still think you can get Travis at 3 or at 4. And I mean, if you really want him, you can jump.
This is more. I think the main point I was trying to make is that the Giants not freaking out about being the third pick is telling that one of the two quarterbacks that we say are going 1 and 2 is going to the Giants. Which means that
I don't think so.
Which means Travis is a 1 or a 2. That was like the whole point.
I think I think Tennessee will probably take a quarterback. The Browns have to.
Yeah, and that's 1 and 2.
There's no way. But 1 and 2. I think the Giants. I don't think the Giants are gonna take Travis because they don't have a quarterback.
Exactly.
So I think you can still get Travis at 4.
Yeah,
that's why I don't think they're freaking out.
What are the Giants going to do? Because they need a quarterback.
Yeah, well, I mean, think about it. I think which we're going to talk about, but I think if the Ravens stomp the shit out of the Steelers, and there's a lot of talk right now of Tomlin, this actually being the year that he moves on, and they blow that up, then Russ is on the table. Justin Fields is on the table, potentially.
Yeah.
You've got a guy in Kirk Cousins that's going to be on the table. You've got other vets that didn't play this year, like Ryan Tannehill, if you want a quick fix guy. So you've got options around the league that are going to be, that are 1-year guys or free agents. Sam Darnold also is somebody that is, it's not a lock. He's a free agent.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't feel any loyalty to the Vikings franchise, he could go to the highest bidder. So I think the Giants aren't freaking out because, one, Daboll and the general manager are staying. So there's continuity. And I think Daboll, he took the job with a Daniel Jones with the expectation from his owners that he was not going to draft a quarterback. when it started. And so I don't think, and I think Dayball's smart enough to know this is a ticking time bomb. I can't draft a quarterback. I got to go get a guy. So that's why I don't think, that's why if it's me, I'm not tripping over, like, if they decide, okay, we're going to draft a quarterback, then Travis Hunter's still on the board. If you're not going to, and you're going to go try and be somewhat competitive, then there's no reason to take a receiver there in Travis Hunter because you have a Malik Neighbors. So if you're going to go get a quarterback in free agency, what's the defensive, I just gave it away, but what's the position of need there? A defensive, a defensive power, or what's the word I'm looking for? A game breaker. You've got Thibodeau, you have a Sexy Dexy, but those guys, Thibodeau is younger. I don't know where Sexy Dexy is in his career, I'm not sure. But if you can go get another edge rusher, you can never say no to another edge rusher. We watched that Penn State kid absolutely rule the game against Boise State, and he's the second overall prospect. So while these other teams, if the Giants are going to be somewhat competent, and I think that both the general manager has shown some competence as well as Dayball, I believe, fully has competence. You're not going to take you're not going to take a shot on one of these quarterbacks, and you're not going to take a shot on a Travis Hunter. You've got a Malik Neighbors. Go get a defensive piece. Go get a vet quarterback. Fill out some of the odds and ends with different free agents and be competitive. Not good, but competitive. 8 to 9 wins.
I think that 8 to 9 win competitive will get Dayball fired. I think what they're looking for when the owner said, like, we need to turn this around quick, is they're looking for their franchise guy. And that's what I personally think.
But I disagree, because the whole reason Daboll got to keep his job was because they went like 10-7 and they got into the playoffs and they won a playoff game.
Yeah.
And you can go win a playoff game with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, but don't you think they're kind of also, because the league changes based on what's working. So don't you think they're also kind of looking at, like, let's go do what the Commanders are doing? Like, we need a rookie quarterback to take us far.
The difference is that this quarterback class sucks. Like, this quarterback class is, like, anyone in the media is like, this quarterback class is nowhere near anything that last quarterback class was, or even the year before that, or even CJ and Bryce's year.
Yeah.
There wasn't that sort of thing.
But what they were saying about that, and this is when the Giants had the first overall pick, is Shador and Cam were the number 1 and 2 based on the team's needs. So when they had the first overall pick, everybody was sure that they were going to take a quarterback. So now that they have the third pick, I don't know. It's kind of like, why are we now not sure that they will take a quarterback? Because before, when they had the first pick, it was a surefire thing, because that's what they need no matter what, is a QB.
Yeah, well, I think there's, like, for me, looking at it like at a broad scope, is there's more quarterback availability than we think, and also just the way some things have shaken out towards, with these other teams. Hell, if you really wanted to, and maybe they're not freaking out because the Patriots are the pick behind them, and they're like, well, there was a guy that showed out on Sunday.
Ooh. Do you want to get into that?
I mean, like, we don't have to go straight to that, but there's guys around the league. I mean, hell, maybe they're like, you know what? We're going to sit back and not be stupid about this. Brock Purdy's not going to get paid. They're going to franchise tag him, and he'll be available next year. And he's a time and space guy. Dayball can work with him.
Yeah.
And they've got a Malik Neighbors, so you've got a better receiver than any of the receivers on the Niners.
True.
You can build out the rest of it. You take a defensive piece this year. Maybe the Giants are having a moment of clarity and saying, we've got more options than people think, and we can be competitive. We can put some defensive pieces together, and we've got a star receiver. We've got a running back that honestly was pretty good this year. So, like, if we can figure out our O-line, I have full confidence Dayball can. They pick either a defensive piece and then take some O-line pieces. Maybe I think there's more options for the Giants specifically than other teams because they've got Dayball. They've got a competent guy sitting at the throne when it comes to the team.
Well, this is the last thing I'll say about this, is that, like, Dayball being competent and being the guy is, this whole offseason before the season started, everybody put Dayball in the hot seat. Everyone did. Everyone said, like, if they can't make it, I don't know if it was the playoffs, but if they can't, like, have a good season, he's out of there. And now we're at the end of the season, and it's kind of like we're resetting our expectations on Dayball, even though last offseason it was.
Can't, and I kind of want to take back what I said about the general manager being competent. They don't have a Saquon.
That is true. Yeah.
Like I bet they sat down in the meeting. They were like, we were going to fire you. But then this fuckhead over here let Saquon walk.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So like,
that's a good point.
That's why I think expectations reset because there was no Saquon and you were left with a Daniel Jones, a rookie Malik Neighbors.
Yeah.
And then
they
two
kind
guys.
of finally were just like, okay, we got rid of Saquon. Danny Dimes kind of stinks.
Yeah.
And they're like, maybe this isn't your fault.
Yeah. And then on top of that too, like there were flashes at the beginning of the year. I mean, you said it earlier, like Wan'Dale Robinson, he's not by any means like a great 2, but I mean, he was getting receptions out the ass.
Oh yeah.
So like you get
receptions
you get the right guy in the system there. And I think you can be productive and they're not a terrible base to go with. They've got cap space. It's New York. People want to play in New York. So, I mean, hell, maybe they're sitting back and they're like, you know that guy that wore gangrene this year who tore his ACL a year ago and they don't want him because they think he's a problem? We'll sign him for a year and go get Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. I was like,
and then it's a package deal. You get Devontae Smith. And then all of a sudden, you've got Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Smith, Malik Neighbors, Tyron Tracy, the number 3 overall pick in the best defensive lineman, edge rusher in the league, Kayvon Thibodeau. Like, it starts to look a little bit better.
You're so much better at doing the draft rot, like snowball effect than I am. Like, you just like all of a sudden just made a Super Bowl winning team just like in 5 minutes.
I mean, yeah, I'm hopeful for the Giants, and I think Dayball's the answer there to where you can. That's why I don't think they're freaking out because the ship is settled.
Final question on this point: where does Travis go? Like what?
I think like if the Patriots really want him and they're like we're good with Drake May, he'll go 4. He'll go 4. The first 2 teams don't have a need. I'm praying to God that the Giants have some sort of brain about them and take obviously the edge rusher because that is a life changer. We devalue what an edge rusher is when it comes to the draft.
We devalue everyone who's not a wide receiver or a quarterback.
Yeah, like that can change your whole life if you're getting pressure from Sexy Dexy up the middle, and then you're getting Kayvon Thibodeau, and you have another guy coming off the edge. That is, and especially in a division where you have mobile quarterbacks, it's a life changer, and you can really change your life on defense where you can get off the field on a 3rd down. Yeah. That is a massive thing. That's a massive deal. And then if you've got a competent quarterback in any sense that can just drive you down the field methodically, you can win games. So I'm hoping. I think, but to answer your question, 4. If the Patriots really want him and they're set with Drake May, he'll go 4. They'll get their guy, and he'll play receiver and when he should be playing corner.
I don't know. This is entertainment purposes. I know nothing. I know the same as you. Okay, I'm just saying. Off of the rabbit hole that I crawled into, Travis Hunter's going 1 or 2.
Maybe.
And
I mean, even if he does go 1 or 2, when you look at Shador and Cam Ward, they are not life-changing quarterbacks.
Yeah, probably not.
I don't think. Like, there's no part of me that looks at either of those guys and that's Superman.
So, we talked about the Patriots. Do you want to get into the man, the myth, the legend?
Like the
Superman?
QB corner?
No, just him.
Oh, just him in general?
You were just talking about him in general? Because I guarantee you, me and you have different views on him.
Joe Milton?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can talk about him. I think coming out of that game, I loved Joe Milton. Like that was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I loved him.
Yeah. He won me over in that game.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, obviously.
Yeah. I love Joe Milton. I had I wonder, I don't know. There's a couple different ways you can go. We just talked about the Patriots, but there's a couple different ways you go coming out of that game. And you go, it was B squad. Yes. He played really well. We don't really know what he's like against actual guys because he didn't play. He looked sweet though. Like at one point he was 9 for 9. 9 for 9 on his first drive with a rushing touchdown. So like, there's one way you can look at it where they're like, we've got a trade chip. Like in Drake May, we're gonna go with Joe. Like all we were doing this year is we're gonna test out Drake May, see if he really flashes for us, and if they can put it together some. But ultimately, he was the tester. And this guy showed us way more that we like. There's that way to go. There's the other way where they just let him, he just rots on the bench and turns into Jameis Winston and finally gets out of there after his rookie deal and he finally gets a shot at something else. Or there's a, like I said, there's a team like the Giants or the Raiders that are like, hell, they drafted him in the freaking 6th round. Yeah. We can give I mean, if they're overvaluing, we give up a 5th round pick. What do we care? We're terrible. Right? You know, we're not good at drafting anyway. So we give up a 5th round pick to get a guy that could be our starting quarterback. We know Aiden O'Connell isn't. We know Gardner Minshew isn't. We know every other guy that stepped foot in a Raiders uniform isn't it. So like, I don't know what his future is, or if it's just a flash performance and he'll be a Patriot for 4 years and then he'll fall off the face of the earth.
Yeah. I think most of the internet, from what I have gathered, agrees with you. They think that Drake sucks, Joe Milton forever.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And I will say is, hell yeah, brother. Patriots fans, if you truly want Joe Milton, you deserve Joe Milton for 10 years. Because if you are willing to take Joe Milton and make him your starter off of possibly the smallest sample size that I've ever seen, one game versus the second team, then yes, you deserve a Joe Milton who will take you to a Super Bowl if that's what he turns out to be. But you also deserve 10 years of Joe Milton who in Tennessee was inaccurate, lazy in the pocket, bad footwork. You deserve all of that. If you really want Joe Milton to be your starter off of one game, you deserve it. Hell
this
yeah.
This guy's crazy.
I love Joe Milton.
This guy's ridiculous. During the broadcast, he was slurping at the mouth.
No, I do. I like Joe Milton. I agree with you that Joe Milton should be starting somewhere, just not for the Patriots with Drake May.
Oh.
He could, for sure, the Raiders. Like, there's nobody that's...
I don't know.
I think Joe would be better than the 2 quarterbacks that they currently have on the Raiders.
I don't know. I mean, give it a year. A lot can change, you know. I mean, Drake could come out next year and just be a dud. Like, he showed flashes 100%. This year. He could come out next year and just be a pick monster. And then 100%. They're just like, oh, and then it flips where it's like, oh, this young kid who doesn't have good footwork in the pocket and throws a bunch of picks, and it could flip. So, I mean, most likely the most realistic thing is that he's a Patriot and like for the next 4 years. Yeah. And it's a QB battle for the next 3 years because they're going to be dysfunctional and Drake May is not going to get a real fair shot. And then Joe Milton will end up starting at some point, and it'll be the new Bailey Zappi Mac Jones, where they play halves. Like if they're trending towards dysfunction, then it's bound to happen one way or the other, and then who knows who comes out on the other side of it. I don't know. I mean, coming out of the draft, like I had a moment where I was like, I really like Drake May. I'm not as like high as you are on Drake May. I think he's pretty okay. Like, I think he's pretty okay, and there wasn't anything that jumped off the tape for me that was like, wow, he's got a rocket arm, or wow, he's really accurate, or wow, he really is good outside of the pocket, or wow, he really makes plays. Like, again, it's the second team for Joe Milton, but that, like, there was more wows in that one drive that we watched him play than I got in 3 games watching Drake May play, whether it was against the Bills or I don't remember the other game that we watched them play, but I don't know. I think realistically, Joe Milton will be a Patriot next year. It'll be a QB battle in the preseason, and then Drake may ultimately get the job for the first like 4 games, and then from there it's a toss up. Who knows what happens?
Yeah. I think if you, which I'm probably going to get killed about this because it's going to be the same take as Jameis Winston taking away his picks. Right. But there is a difference between like a good quarterback who throws picks and just like a buns quarterback. Like there is a difference. I think if
but again, to the same reason you said that we have a small sample size of Joe Milton, we don't have a large sample size of Drake May, especially in a competent sense.
An entire season is a lot more. Well, not an entire season, obviously, but like playing actual NFL defenses and having good stat lines, throwing for 300. And yes, he has the picks, but I mean, if you want to know like his current ceiling, and that's if he never breaks through that ceiling, it is the stat lines that he has been able to put up this year with nobody on his team, but just without the picks. I think that would be his ceiling, and that's a really good quarterback in my mind.
I think the hope though for the Patriots is that it's Josh Allen. That's not his ceiling. They're not gonna like it's. the Patriots and what they've had, their expectations are so high that if like he's 22, if in 2 years, if they let him rock for 2 years and he's just the same without the picks and they're still like a mediocre franchise, then maybe he hangs around for a bit. But I don't think that's what they're after. I don't think they're after like his ceiling should be like insane.
Well, they don't have like anybody on that roster.
I understand, and that's what I'm saying. You can do it both ways. Yes, Joe Milton had a 1-game sample size. Yes, Drake May. Can you get out of here?
I'm just saying.
If like Joe Milton had a 1-game sample size, Drake May has a larger sample size. Neither one has really had a fair shot in whatever way you want to look at it. And yes, we would like to have Joe Milton on another team, but the ultimate reality is that they're both going to be Patriots. It's going to be a QB battle for the next 2 years until either Joe Milton gets cut or they trade Drake May this year in the draft.
Send him to the Titans.
Could be, if they really want the first overall pick.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's go into the top 5 things that made me smile this week on the internet.
Hell yeah.
Starting with the guy that we just talked about, Joe Milton versus Mitch Trubisky. Okay, this was in like the first quarter, I think. Mm-hmm. I'll throw it up on the screen. But at one point, Mitch Trubisky was 6 of 6, 41 yards and a touchdown. And Joe Milton was 9 for 9, 121 yards. And a touchdown. It was an absolute QB battle. We watched it. It was really fun to just watch and see. Like Week 18 is just a mixed bag. You don't know what you're going to get. And we had some fun moments from this Week 18. So
that was for sure, I think, one of the best games from Week 18. Just because you got to see them both just ball out.
Yeah. And then on the other side of it, it wasn't something that made me smile, but just made me kind of drop my jaw. Before the second round of games, the 2:00 slot here in Colorado was over. Before it even made really, before those games even got to almost halftime, basically, Gerard Mayo was fired.
I think.
At exactly 3:17.
After the game, 3 minutes, 17 seconds?
No, the time was 3:17. So the game ended 3 hours, about 3.5 hours from 11. So you're talking about 1:30-ish. So basically an hour and 45 minutes later, he was fired, and there was a statement out about the firing. There was no way in hell that he didn't know. Like Robert Kraft is, I don't think, like Robert Kraft is, to my knowledge, like a pretty respectable guy, and there's no way that he was able to just like yap up this like page-long thing about how it was so hard to fire Gerard Mayo. So he knew, like there's no way he knew going into that game that he was fired, even if it wasn't expressly said to him. He knew.
Yeah, it was over.
There was no shot. So there's that. That was something funny. The next one here it comes from Reddit, actually, in which the subreddit is just lacrosse. And this is what this guy spoke out into some server that like 3 people, it has 8 comments and no up votes.
Hell
just
yeah.
to put it in perspective. Let me get this dog's fucking bone. Stay over there, please. For the love of all that's good. All right. Lacrosse is the subreddit. Here it's got no upvotes, no downvotes, just 8 comments. This comes from Big-Performance 9785.
Hell yeah.
Does Zin flavor and milligram affect game performance? Recently in my D3 lax game, I was ripping like 5-6 milligram in quotations wintergreen, and I was buzzing like a fucking bee. Scored 3 goals and 1 BTB assist and BTB goal. Steez. Next game, I ripped a Cinezin 6 milligram singular and was playing like hung cheddar. I know you beasts demolish both beers and Zin on the regular, so I'd appreciate any tips. Thanks, brothers.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
This is a real human being.
Yeah.
There's a guy that sat down. This was.
If you play hockey, tell me, does that sound like somebody you know? Because I feel like hockey and lacrosse players are kind of in the
This
same
was at
boat.
like 3 p.m. on a Saturday. Okay, like I'm guesstimating here from when I
Just
screenshotted it. But yeah, this was a real human being who sat down and was like, "This is a good thing to put out on the internet. My future." Well, they're not going to know that it's him by his sick username, Big Dash Performance. But this is a real human being that was like, "This is I'm gonna see what the bros have to say about this." And you know what? I love that guy,
Mr. Big Performance. Buy some Swedish Zins. 20 milligrams.
20 milligrams.
Rip 3 of those and see if you have a Hall of Fame type of game.
Yeah.
And then get back to us.
I completely agree.
And then go raw dog for the next game. Tell us what happened.
Hell yeah. Okay, the next two here. This next tweet comes yesterday after 24 hours, actually. Well, 24 hours after the Bengals lost or beat the Steelers. Okay, this man had time to think about this tweet. He put thought into this. This comes from Jared at the @Steelers_117. Shout out Jared. Broncos fans, I apologize. You were right. Period. I was wrong. Period. Russell Wilson is indeed washed. Period. Accept my sincerest apology. This tweet today has over, what is it? 500,000 impressions. It has 6.7K likes, 380 retweets, and 272 responses with 118 saved tweets. So, shout out, it's not even Jared, Gerard. Shout out Gerard for coming to and coming to his senses on the absolute dumpster fire.
Do you accept the apology? Or is it a no take back?
I don't take any offense from the Steelers. I want to hear the apologies from the media for saying that. I mean, we did him dirty, but also he sucked. Like the fact that they were like, he's pretty good. Like I don't know.
He had a pretty crazy stretch, right? And it's hard to be like, yes, he sucks when he played good for like, let's say just 5 games. I don't know the actual time.
Sure.
But he played good for 5 games, and then there was like dysfunction with the coach and the QB. It's easy to kind of say, oh, it was the coach, right?
Okay, but then you go to the Steelers. There's no dysfunction with Mike Tomlin.
True.
And the man has taken more sacks than almost any quarterback in the league, and he's played 6 less games.
True.
He had the massive fumble against the Ravens that could have won that game.
True.
He's thrown George Pickens or not. He's looked buns the last 3 weeks, and he's going to get curb stomped by the Ravens again in the playoffs and show his true colors. So, I mean, apology accepted. I never had a vendetta against the Steelers, so I'll take the apology for sure.
I second that guy's apology. I used to be a Russell Wilson hater. This year, I was not a Russell Wilson hater. I'm back, baby.
I'm back, baby.
Screw Russ. 2025.
Now, this last one here comes from the beautiful game that was the Miami Dolphins versus the New York Jets, in which Tua Tagovailoa shows his inability to be any sort of durable as a professional athlete. He was out with a hip injury. We saw an old man have a renaissance, which we'll talk about him more a little bit later. But him and his best bud, Davante Adams, had a moment during this game that just deserves to be in the Hall of Fame of what the fuck. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Much better under Weaver. And around Davante Adams looking to throw back to Rodgers. Razzle-dazzle. Covered well by the Dolphins.
Jesus Christ. Jesus. I'm trying to kill him.
This is the most hospital pass ever. If I'm Davante Adams after that, you guys have just saw it up on the screen. If I'm Davante Adams after I catch that pass, bro, I'm meeting Aaron in the parking lot, bro. After how many years of friendship, you're going to throw me a hospital ball like that? I'm brittle. The reason I left the Raiders was because I was losing my life every week. Mm-hmm. You're going to put my life in danger?
Like throw it out of bounds. What are we doing here? Like, can't see this guy go at full speed?
Like, at least throw it out of bounds to where if I do get clocked, we get 15 out of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
No, I'm going to throw it directly to you and just let you get absolutely blasted, Davante.
You know, there was a clip of the Chiefs practicing. I think it was like a quadruple, not option, a quadruple, like Tony and Patrick Mahomes, they passed it back to each other 4 times, and then they threw it for a touchdown during practice. They were trying to steal Kansas City's plays right there. It just didn't work.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
That's why they did it in practice.
What a beautiful thing. Well, that is the 5 things that made me smile, cry, or laugh this week on Twitter. Reddit is a newcomer, and just the internet in general. Are you ready for arguably the most important segment of the week? Something I like to call White Man of the Week. This week, I will be presenting the White Man of the Week, and I have something special. Let me go grab it. So, ladies and gents, we have 2 awards to give out that will be given out now with actual trophies every week. We have a White Man of the Week trophy here, and then a game ball that will be going out every week from this point forward. I am pairing these two and wanted to bring it into focus since I'm presenting the White Man of the Week. I thought, you know what, let's introduce the trophies here and let's get both of them out of the way. So, of course, we're going to start with the White Man of the Week, and then we'll go to the game ball. Starting off with our White Man of the Week. Here it is. The numbers will disappear at some point. I forgot to take them off in complete honesty, but here it is, the White Man of the Week trophy. And our White Man of the Week, Week 18. This is a special guy.
Special man.
Special guy. Broke a record.
Ooh.
This week.
Big record.
A record this week. He was, and it was just held by one of your other favorite guys. This is 2 of your favorite guys right here.
Trying to get me horny right now?
I might be. I don't know. He finished with 112 receptions, breaking the rookie reception record held by Puka Nacua of 105. He had 112. He finished with 1,194 yards, 5 touchdowns on a dumpster fire of a football team. He should be saved. He's a man from California who went to school in Georgia and magically has a lisp and a Georgia accent after spending just 4 years there. Please welcome Mr. Brock Bowers.
Hell yeah.
To the Circle White Man of the Week, the first man to actually win the White Man of the Week trophy. I mean, hell, he was even pretty close. I mean, 112 receptions is just absolutely ridiculous. So if you want to hold that for me for the White Man of the Week, that is our lovely Brock
special right
Bowers.
Brock, congratulations. You are the first person to get a. You don't get this trophy, but you get a trophy mentally.
Mentally.
Congratulations, Brock.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, Brock. Now, game ball. This is another white man. I considered making it a co-white man of the week.
Co-white man.
But I wanted to stay truthful. That Brock Bowers it fits the mold better for white man of the week. So we have our game ball. This is a man that is very close to my heart. He also is a rookie who broke 2 records this week. I also wanted to give these 2 guys these awards because they are going to be the runner-ups for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Oh.
So the game ball this week is going to a Bo Nix.
Hell yeah.
Who, granted, played sort of the B team against the Chiefs. Not sort of, the B team against the Chiefs. Led the Broncos to the first playoff berth since 2015.
Hell yeah.
Broke the single game completion percentage record previously held by Peyton Manning, which was 89.29%. He threw the ball for a completion percentage of 89.7%. Finished the game with was 26 of 29, 321 yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions in a game where he should do work, and he did. For most people, it's not impressive, but when you get a rookie who just does what he's supposed to in a spot like that, it's awesome. And anyone who has 3 incompletions, that's fucking nuts.
Yeah,
no matter what level of football you're playing.
That's bonkers.
In addition to that, his second record that he broke was the most at-home touchdown passes.
Hell yeah.
For the Broncos, previously held by Peyton Manning, which was 17. The record is now 19. He finished the year with 3,775 passing yards, 29 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions, rushing 92 times, 403 yards with 4 rushing touchdowns, and don't forget, 1 receiving touchdown. Bo, this game ball goes to you for your performance this week and as a consolation trophy for the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Of course, I would give it to you if I had the power, but the media has the power, so it's Jaden Daniels. There you guys are, Brock Bowers, Bo Nix, Week 18, White Man of the Week, and game ball, first receivers of the trophies. Clap it up.
Clap it up. Bo, Brock, don't get down on yourselves. Rookie of the Year. Who gives a fuck? You won White Man of the Week, and you won the game ball for the Buffet Sports Podcast.
I hope one day I get to see. I would love to see Brock Bowers in a Broncos uniform.
Yeah,
have them throw into each other. Yeah. That would be beautiful. But there you are, guys. There is the two there. Now I have one more segment before we get into. Oh no, you can put those down. I have one more segment that I wanted to just. It's a quick thing, and then if you don't have anything else, we can do. QB corner.
Yeah.
So let me prepare myself here and grab what I need to grab here. I alluded to it. We were doing some trivia during Week 18 because, let's be honest here, we're not really watching. We're sort of watching. So we were doing some trivia, a blind resume sort of testing, and I said to you that there was two guys that I was going to leave off. They play for the same team. They are in I'm not going to tell you what division. What division. They are in the NFC, though. These are two guys on the same team. Let's do a blind resume check here, okay? These are the number 31 and 32 in terms of passing yards, okay? This is number 31. He threw for 1,978 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions in just 8 games. Mm-hmm. The other guy was number 32. In just 12 games, he put up 1,844 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. So 4-game spread there, but the results are not that far off. Who could these two be?
One played 11, one played 12?
One played 8, and the other played, let me double check, make sure that I'm speaking truth here. 8 and 12. The one with more yards played 8 games. The one with less yards but more touchdowns played 12.
Ooh. So a guy was balling when he was playing.
Yeah. This is in the NFC.
Big balling in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt it's the Jordan Love and Malik.
Nope. Didn't play enough games.
Didn't play enough games. Yeah. You're right. Who else had a? Cowboys is Cooper Rush and Dak Prescott.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and okay. Now let me guess. Cooper has more yards.
No.
Damn.
Cooper Rush has less yards but more touchdowns. It's a 4-game difference. That's kind of a lot in the NFL.
Yeah.
At the same time, though, it begs the question, they're working with the same stuff.
Yeah.
Why do we give Dak the biggest contract in NFL history again?
Jerry Jones is senile.
I mean, legitimately. They were playing really hard to keep Mike McCarthy's job for I don't know what reason. But you know how I feel about Mike McCarthy. But I found it to be interesting that you're working with, and one of those games two of those games you're pretty much working with a banged up CeeDee Lamb. Yeah. Now, he's still balled out.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the run game came alive a little bit more, but a 4-game difference there, you're looking at virtually the same stats.
And I would kind of argue that the run game came alive because they had less confidence in Cooper. That's the reason why. And then they're like, okay, we actually can run the ball. Yeah. And then kind of went there. I think the amount of confidence they had in Dak was kind of holding them back.
Yeah. So that, to me, it begs the question. I know that, you just paid him that much money. You can't not play him next year. Mm-hmm. But,
if you're big balls in it, right? And, the Falcons are going to do it with Kirk. Mm-hmm. They're going to be in a deficit. The Broncos just did it with Russ. If you got the balls to do it, you can get rid of Dak. Go try and find somebody else. We've seen it work. Well, we've seen it work once in recent memory. We might see it work twice with the Falcons if that turns out to work in their favor. It's a viable sort of route you can go. Just go into a huge hole and just – you got to be smart. Sean Payton's smart. Not everybody's smart.
I'll do you one better. Ooh. I'll do you one better. I talked about this at the very, very beginning of the season, and you said I was crazy. I want to just pulse check, see where you're at on this. Why not? If Tyreek's out, Tua's unreliable. Mm-hmm. Dak's somewhat unreliable, but for different reasons. Yeah. In terms of it's his legs that always have a problem. It's not like he misses. It's either season ending or he plays through it. Mm. What if we just did a quarterback swap? it's kind of the perfect place for Tua to play. You've got a pace and space, to a degree, a pace and space offense where you got a big-time down-the-field receiver in CeeDee Lamb. You've got Brandon Cooks an underneath flat threat. You've got a really viable tight end in Jake Ferguson. It's not Jonnu Smith, but...
Yeah. And Schoonmaker's great tight end.
And Schoonmaker, if you can figure out the running back position, I'm looking at you, Ashton Genty, then... You throw a Tua behind a much better offensive line, playing indoors in a division where he's competing against the Eagles, and let's see, the Eagles, the Giants, and the Cowboys. Obviously, I'm retarded. So the Eagles, the Giants, and the Commanders. That's the other one. Commanders. And so. I don't know. To me, it's like, okay, if the Dolphins are blowing it up and you just got a bunch of cap space, you're going to let Tyreek go. Dak's a proven guy to where, he can do most things and fit into most systems. I would consider it if I was like, if you're like, you know what, we're going to, like, both teams are kind of like, we're going to blow it up. We're going to try something, or not, maybe not blow it up, but just try something different. What if we just did a straight quarterback swap?
Yeah.
Because they paid Tua, so the contracts are not, Dak is the highest paid player ever. So I don't know how the cap space would work. And in football, you don't really have to match salaries. But like, do a straight trade there. Let Tua walk, or not let Tua. Let Tyreek walk. You've got a Devon Achane and all the other guys that are there, and it's kind of a ready-made system to drop in a guy that I think could work in that system.
Yeah. Yeah, I would call you crazy until Tua had his incident, is what we'll call it. We'll call it his incident. Until that happened, I am all for putting Tua behind a really good O-line. I would love that. That'd be great for his career, being in Dallas. I am worried. I think a lot of owners, they like getting guys. They don't like losing them, especially Jerry Jones. He hates losing guys, but he definitely wants them for cheap.
Yeah.
So he would be getting Tua for cheap. I don't know if he's willing. Cheaper. Yeah, I just don't know.
I just thought about it because I'm like, okay, let me not be a complete Debbie Downer on Tua. Let's see if we can revitalize career behind a good O-line.
I think,
the Cowboys always have a good O-line, and it's ready-made.
I think he'd be great in Dallas.
Yeah.
I personally think he'd be great in Dallas. Miami, I don't know if Miami wants Dak Prescott on their squad, but... maybe they do.
And it would be to fun. Me, I kind of look at the reason I say the reason I forgot to bring up with Dak Prescott, why I would. He's a guy that comes from a cold college school. And if you're a guy that, like, you know how he plays indoors. Miami's pretty much indoors, aside from like a wind gust here and there. But like, how he plays indoors. It's fantastic.
It's really hot in Miami.
Sure, but my point is he's a cold weather guy in college. So when you go and play in division and you go to the playoffs, you don't have the worry of like, now is it worth $60 million? No, but you don't have the worry of like, is this guy going to show up? He did it in college. That's how he got drafted. So to me, it's like, okay, we know what Dak Prescott is indoors. We saw what he was outdoors. He plays in Dallas. They have to play outdoors because they play the Giants in the wintertime and they play DC in the wintertime. So we know what he is. And he doesn't stink that bad in the winter. Yeah. So in a division where the cold matters and you got to be able to play in both scenarios, kind of works for both parties if you can figure out the rest of the pieces.
Yeah, I would like it. It would be fun too.
It'd be just interesting. Just get a quarterback swap there.
I like it. Love it.
Okay,
more of it.
You want to do QB corner?
Yeah. Okay. Let's get into it.
All right. So basically, this is QB corner, where Zane and I rank the top 10 quarterbacks from this week. Not really going into next week, based on statistical greatness, the feeling in our balls, and level of difficulty.
Oh yeah.
This is QB corner. Now, let me preface this. This QB corner is all over the place. We got guys that had great games. We got guys who broke records. We've got guys with storylines. And I'll weigh it. There's not, like, to be truthful with you, there's not really an order to the order other than the feeling in my balls. Okay.
It's all balls pick.
Pretty much all balls pick. So we start out the week, we start out the list with
all
number
balls,
1.
No dick.
Bryce Young. 25 of 34, 251, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, 5 rushes, 24 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 total touchdowns, the most on the week. Beat the Falcons in overtime. They didn't really get to play spoiler, but they pretty much did.
Yeah.
Led a game-winning drive. He's won me back over. I was like, Bryce Young's a bust.
I know.
He's not he's an 8-year guy at most. He's won me over. I still think he's an 8-year guy, but I think the 8 years can be really good.
Oh my God. Did I need a Bryce Young arc in my life? Like going in the next year, I'm gonna say I'm probably gonna put them as a winning record when we do predictions. I'm probably gonna say they got a winning record.
9-8.
Yeah,
I'd feel pretty good.
9-8. I flipping love this arc that he's on right now.
And they've got some pieces like if Xavier Legette can figure it out, maybe they get another defensive piece. They've got Chuba Hubbard. Like they've got some pieces that they can maybe make it work.
I would love a Lions 2.0, but in North Carolina.
With Bryce Young at the helm.
Yeah, with Bryce Young at the helm.
Yeah. So that's where I've got him. How do we feel about a Bryce Young number 1?
I love it.
All right, Bryce
Young, congratulations. First place. Buffet Sports QB Corner.
At 2, I selfishly put Bo here. I read his stats off earlier. He finished the game 26 of 29, was 321, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, 7 rushes, 47 yards, led all rushers in the game, broke 2 different records in that game, and at one point was 17 of 17 with 3 touchdowns and no interceptions.
Now, if we're going off of balls, yes, he is the number 2. But we have to be honest here about level of difficulty.
Yes.
All right. Is Joe Milton or flipping Mitch Trubisky on the list?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. My point doesn't hold any sort of validation anymore. Because, all right, level of difficulty thrown out the window. He deserves to be number 2.
Okay.
If we bring in level of difficulty at all, 1%, we bring that in.
Okay.
He cannot be up there. But if it's an all balls week,
pretty much,
which it seems like all balls, no shaft, Bo Nix is number 2.
All right. At 3, Joe Milton. You finished the game 22 of 29, only 7 incompletions, 241, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, 10 rushes for 16 yards, and a touchdown versus a Buffalo Bills who played the C team.
Fuck you, Drake. You're going to lose your job.
That's why I have Joe Milton. Eye-popping, all sorts of crazy stuff. Backflips, cross-field, Madden passes, fucking coming out of the pocket, throwing a dart down the sideline that it didn't count because it was holding.
I saw that. That was beautiful. Pass.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
So, Joe Milton at 3. How do we feel about that?
Hey, balls picked.
All right.
If I was going with my balls are leaning in that. They're swinging in that direction.
At number 4, I can't ignore this just because of the gravity of the game. The storyline of this, I have to put him in here. It wasn't a great week for him, which is why it's still a balls pick. I have Jared Goff at 4. He was 27 of 33, so 6 incompletions, 231, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Asterisk. The first one was like I was throwing it to Craig Reynolds and someone's just a massive human being tipped it.
Yeah.
So 1-1 really. And they lock up the number 1 seed in the NFC, which they needed so badly. Now, was that game a lot about the defense?
We're going to label this Dev's QB corner because I do not want to be a part of this list.
Now, was this game mostly about the defense? Yes, but he was the quarterback that led the team to 15-2 on the year, a franchise record-setting season, a offensive record-setting season, whether it's the Lions, whether it's the NFL, whether it's the 60s or the 2020s. This team is etched into the record books, all across the record books in NFL history, and he was the man under center.
Oh, yeah.
So I've got Goff at 4.
Alrighty.
At 5 here, I've got Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, there's no way I'm putting my name anywhere near this list when we post it. This is going to be Devin's list.
Aaron Rodgers is number 5. He beat the Finns 23 of 36, 274, 4 touchdowns,
You're letting
1
the
interception.
voices take over right now. You're like, they beat the Finns. I hate the Finns. Aaron Rodgers, GOAT. Put him on.
Put the old man back on the list here at number 5. We love it. Aaron Rodgers. And hell, it might be his last game in the NFL.
That is true.
So put him on the fucking list.
You got great points for like sentimental reasons to put these guys on here.
At number 6, we've got Cock Mayfield.
Oh, yeah.
He finished 21 of 32, 221 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 9 rushes for 68 yards, and a touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
89 of those yards went to Mike Evans for his 11th consecutive season of 1,000 yards. Baker has contributed 2 of those and joined Tom Brady in getting him a 1,000-yard season.
Yeah.
They almost choked it away against the Saints, but they found a way to win in the fourth quarter. Mm-hmm. They make it into the playoffs by the skin of their nuts.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield at 6 is where I've got him. Number 7 here, I have Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray beat the 49ers and Josh Dobbs.
Yeah.
Throwing 25 of 35. He had 242, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 3 rushes, 22 yards. It's a depleted, beat down Josh Dobbs led Niners team.
Yeah.
But he had 4 tugs. And this is just a spite pick for you. He's a quarterback. He's a quarterback at heart. Number 8, we got a 1, Geno Smith. He was 20 of 27, 223 yards, 4 touchdowns, another 4 touchdown game, and 0 interceptions. He beat a Jimmy Garoppolo-led Rams, and what do I always say? They always find a way to make it interesting. Yeah. Geno specifically always finds a way to make it interesting, whether he's winning or losing. This game was a 1-point game down to the very last couple plays. Geno got the job done. He got himself, I believe, an extra $500,000 thrown for over 185 yards. Clap it up, Geno. Number 6 number 5 or 6 in the 4 to 6, somewhere in there in the season passing numbers. His touchdowns and interception ratio, when you add that in, he should have no business in the top 5. But he did it. He didn't write back. Geno, I love you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure 2 weeks ago you were just shitting on his chest.
After I got off my fantasy team, I was like, Geno.
I love him.
Now, number 9 is where I've got Bohemian Rhapsody Burrow. He beat the Steelers in a game where he threw 37 of 46. He had 277, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. I have to put him on the list somewhere in here because he beat the Steelers and he completed the most insane run.
Yeah. And
he should have made the playoffs. And I feel morally just terrible. I feel like I'm committing moral turpitude. And
what does that mean?
It's just immorality. You're just being a bad person.
I feel like I'm sinning right now.
Yeah. The Broncos made the playoffs over the Bengals, but so I had to. It's half pity in here next to some of these other guys.
This is a very personal list.
Yeah. So Joe Burrow's in there at number 9. By the way, when I pulled the stats for QB Corner, this week will not count towards it. Now at number 10, this is a guy that I think you will enjoy. There was a couple different guys that I could have went here, but this guy dueled with another great of this week. Okay. Him and the other quarterback turned into Tom Brady and Peyton Manning on a random 2:00 Sunday on a week 18 that meant nothing to both franchises. Michael Penis Jr.
Hell yeah, Michael Penis.
21 of 38, 312 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 1 rush for 5 yards, and a rub tuck. These two guys just literally turned into Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, the black versions, and the younger ones in a random week 18. So I got to throw them on the list. There's Penis. There's our list. The honorable mentions here, I want to throw Spencer in there for almost fucking up the entire Bucs season. He went 26 of 42, 241, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. I'd like to throw Mac up here just because he has stepped in and looked better than what Trevor did all year after being discarded by the Patriots. And for everyone was like, why did they pick up Mac Jones. Well, this was the reason, ladies and gents.
Wasn't Mac a first-round pick?
Yeah, in the worst draft in NFL history, 2020. So there it is. Honorable mention. You could throw Dobbs in here too. 29 of 43, 326, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 8 rushes for 17 yards, and 1 drop dog. There it is, folks. There's the QB corner for this week. I'll run down it real quick. Bryce, Bo, Milton, Goff, Rodgers, Baker, Murray, Geno, Burrow, and a 1 Miguel Penis. There you go.
It's quite the list you got there, buddy. It's quite the list.
What can I say?
Very entertaining list.
What can I say? All right. You ready to talk playoffs?
Oh yeah. I'm ready to talk flipping playoffs.
Hell to the yeah. All right. We're going to start on Saturday and just work our way down. At the end of this, we're going to make our parlay. So we'll pick a game. We'll put together lines, or we have the option. We either have the option where we have to make a 6-leg parlay from a single game, or a 8-leg parlay from lines from each game. That'll be our option at the end. First round of the playoffs, the wild card, of course. Kansas City being 15-2 has the bye in the AFC. Detroit 15-2 also has the bye in the NFC. They get to rest their guys up and wait a week to see who they will play. We start on Saturday in the mid-morning. Chargers versus Texans. I think this is like everyone was kind of vying for who gets to play the Texans.
Yeah, 100%.
Chargers are coming off of they specifically played Herbert in the last game so that they could get the Texans. Texans can't score in the second half.
Yeah.
If J.K. Dobbins is playing, they should roll this. They should roll this
100%.
Texans team. We said this 2 weeks ago watching them play. It felt like it was over in week 16. When Tank Dell went down, it was like, it's over.
Yeah, 100%. I think if the Texans can turn it on and look like how they have looked, this can be a game. But as you said, they can't score in the second half. I mean, they have scored in the second half, but it's very far and in between. They are consistently not scoring in the second half of games.
It's one way to look at it.
Yeah, compared to consistently scoring in the second half of games. And C.J. Stroud's passer rating, his amount of yards, his amount of touchdowns, all in the second half, specifically the fourth quarter. He is, when he plays the worst, is in the fourth quarter. That's not what you want as a quarterback. You want, obviously, Tom Brady. You want to be the best in the fourth quarter.
Yes.
So I don't think at least this year they have what it takes to win in the playoffs or like make the Super Bowl. They're going to need to do a lot in this offseason. Just not even like picking up guys wise, just like
get healthy.
Yeah, get healthy. And like CJ's got to get over whatever mental hump he is stuck behind right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We got to put some more work into the offensive line too.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But yeah, taking the Chargers. With the culture that Harbaugh has, I just feel confident that in 1 year, it's crazy saying this after 1 year. It's really rare that you have a guy change a team in 1 year, but I just feel like they are built to play in the playoffs. There's no stats backing that up at all because it's the first year that they've been in the playoffs, but I feel like they going to make it to the second round.
I woke up this morning and I was taking my piss. And I had a shiver, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take the Texans. And then I thought about it more and more throughout the day. And something doesn't sit right with me with the fact that you can't get Nico Collins going, but John Mechie, you can get him going on a regular basis.
Alabama boy.
On a regular basis. Nothing against John Mechie III.
Yeah.
Great player.
Alabama boy.
But there's something in my nuts that's just like this game can tilt really fast.
Yeah.
And I don't think that the Chargers will have the same sort of mental error we saw from them against the Jags. So I'm going to go with you and take the Chargers here.
Yeah. I think it's what most people are taking. I don't think there's many people that aren't Texas fans that are going to take the Texans. Especially with like being able to watch them and how dysfunctional they seem to be. But
okay, off the back of that, I wanted to bring this point in. I wanted to make a couple predictions for the overall end-all, be-all before we get into the rest of the games here. And it was a good segue for the Chargers because they're my dark horse to win the Super Bowl.
Ooh, that's a good pick.
If I can't have KC or Detroit, I want the Chargers because they are built to beat. Any team in the AFC, they can beat them for the same reasons that the Lions can beat any team. If they have control of the field and they have control of the line of scrimmage, they are so hard to beat.
Yeah.
And Justin Herbert doesn't make mistakes. That's the one thing that you can get with the Lions. On and off night for Jared Goff, it's off. We watched it against the Texans. Justin Herbert doesn't have those nights. And he is a cannon waiting to explode. Chargers are my dark horse to win the Super Bowl if it's not KC or Detroit.
Okay, read through the AFC real quick.
AFC, Chargers, Steelers, Ravens, Broncos, Bills.
Broncos, Bills. Man, there's not a lot of guys that people aren't. I won't have a dark horse pick because I think it would be the same as yours. Out of those guys that you've said.
Well, you can pick from the NFC. This is Super Bowl, not AFC. Just Super Bowl.
All right, give me the NFC.
NFC, Packers, Eagles, Mandos, Bucs, Vikings, Rams.
Oh, Jesus.
I know.
Oh, God. It's Packers or Rams for me as a dark horse. I'm struggling. I'm going to go Rams. You know what?
I figure. That's why I set it up.
I'm going to go Rams as my dark horse pick. I'm going to go Rams. They seem to be able to. I've said it 3 million times. They seem to be able to turn it off and turn it on in big games. As long as they don't play Detroit, I don't think there's a team that could beat them when they're hot.
Yeah. That's what I was setting it up to be. For the reason being that it's both LA teams. And wouldn't it just be super fun to see a back-to-back NFC AFC championship in the same building?
That would be.
Actually, I don't know if it would be in the same. No, it wouldn't be in the same building because they're both low seeds.
Oh, yeah.
But it would almost be like, screw New Orleans, let's play in LA.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Let's just stay here.
That'd be fun. Okay, so that sets that up for the dark horses. Don't think about it. Give me your Super Bowl winner.
Lions.
I
can't not. When they beat, I thought for sure like the Vikings were going to win with what's been happening. But now it's like everybody's rumored to come back. And we saw what one guy can do. One flipping guy can make the Vikings high-powered offense look like nothing. Just one dude.
Yeah.
Just one dude on that team. I am done doubting them. I think I've said that before. But this is officially I am done doubting them. They will win the Super Bowl.
I'm with you 100%. I've been on it. I don't think it was my Super Bowl pick to start the year, but after I don't know, week 5 or something, I was like, give me
because what's your game plan? I mean, your game plan to stop the pass? Okay, Jahmyr Gibbs had 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
He had 4 of them.
Yeah.
He can take over a game.
Yeah.
All right, Jared Goff can take over a game. The wide receivers can take over a game.
Yeah.
Every part of that offense can take over.
And just when you think you've got everything stopped, there goes Tim Patrick.
Yeah. Yeah, then Tim Patrick is secretly like – it's like an anime where he powers up and then he gets like a superstar X Factor. And you just can't stop him.
Yeah, for one play. Okay, we've got those out of the way. Now we can return to Saturday night where your boys invite the Steelers in to play in this wild card game. This is the 3 versus the 6. I know where you got to go and I know where I got to go. Fuck Russell Wilson. Give me the Ravens.
Yeah, the only time that I got bamboozled by the Steelers because Lamar has had a down game. It's rare that you see it, but when he mentally can't perform, you think it's because of their defense. It's not because of their defense. We just saw like what the Bengals flipping did to them. I think Lamar is just as skilled as he is a very, very high talented passer on the same plane as Joe Burrow. And I think I got bamboozled by him having a mental error in a mental game, the same way he had a mental error in a mental game versus the Chiefs in the playoffs, to where I thought it was the Chiefs. It's not. It was just that Lamar couldn't get past whatever he was going through, and that's the reason why they lost. The same reason why they lost to the Steelers during the regular season. They're going to steamroll the Steelers in the playoffs.
I completely agree with you. This next round, though, is a different story. Okay, dokie. We've got next the 7 versus 2 seed in the AFC, Broncos versus Bills. This is a very tough game for me.
What are you going to do?
Now, hear me out. The reason this is tough for me is that you've got a team in the Bills that is extremely high-powered. Mm-hmm. You've got a quarterback that is Superman. Mm-hmm. You've got a superstar X Factor as a running back. Mm-hmm. And you've got all guys across the field that aren't going to break you as receivers, but are very respectable and are great possession catch guys.
Yeah.
What do the Broncos do well? They're the best pass rushing team in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Like, far and away, best pass rushing team in the NFL. You're getting... Everyone should be healthy going into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. You got a Riley Moss. You got a Pat Surtain. In this matchup, there's not a receiver that I go, this guy, Pat has to shadow him the whole game.
That's what I was,
which changes the math of everything when you're talking about having the best pass rush in the game. If you can contain Josh Allen, or just not even contain, get him to make mistakes. That's the big thing. Because Pat Surtain and Riley Moss are going to be all over the field at all times. And you've got that sort of pass rush. You don't know where Pat is. So, like, when Josh is running around scrambling and, doing his hero shit, and he's like, Khalil Shakir's down there somewhere, guess what? Pat Surtain is too.
Okay.
I think that you can force Josh into making mistakes with this sort of a pass rush. We saw what happened when there was a oddly good pass rush from the Patriots. They made that a game. And a Drake May that we talked about him in the open, like it or not, he took them to a 1-point game. I'm going to take the Broncos.
You're going to take them?
I'm going to take them.
Okay. Here's how I think about this is, like you said, the Bills don't have like a clear number one wide receiver. They have a bunch of good guys, nobody who really pops off the page. I think of it the opposite as you, to where if you don't have a wide receiver that pops off the page, you don't have a clear idea of what's going to happen and what they're going to do. So I think a team that plays man coverage, who's designed to shut down wide receivers, I think it's harder for the Denver Broncos defense to shut down that offense because they are not shutting down a certain player that gets the team going. The person that gets the team going is Josh Allen or James Cook, one of the two. So it just comes down to their run defense. They have great run defense. I just think Josh Allen's better.
I completely agree with you. It's a balls pick for me.
Yeah.
I look at this game and it's the worst case scenario for the Broncos. It's the worst. It's the best case scenario for the Broncos. Of any team that you have to play in this, I want to play the Bills because Josh Allen does have a history of making mistakes.
Yeah.
He does have a history of trying to do too much.
He's been good this year.
He has been good this year. I'm not taking away from that at all. He's my MVP candidate and he's going to win it. But to me, he's got a history. And if he gets down, if we have a game where we get lucky and go up 2 scores in the first quarter, and then the run game is not going, and Josh Allen's got to play Superman. I mean, God, we've seen him do it all year.
Yeah.
But that's the scenario. Like, if you're if there's any world where the Broncos do it, it's this team. We saw what the Ravens did to them. Not gonna happen. We saw how close they played the Chiefs. Doable, but I don't like Patrick in a tight game. If there's anyone that I would potentially bet against in a tight game where he's got to make the play, it's Josh. Again, that's not to take away from his MVP candidacy. It's just, if there's anyone that I think we've got a shot. Like, it's not. I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
Yeah,
I think it's a touchdown game or a touchdown and a field goal, 10-point game. But I think it's going to be, there's a path. It's not.
I throw
crazy.
The Denver's defense success to me is a coin flip because there's not a clear way to shut down the offense. So you have an idea of what you need to do to shut them down.
Yeah.
But it's still a coin flip because they could
Yeah.
They could say, Hollins, you're the number one this week, and you're not covering Hollins. So then Holland has a legacy game,
Sure.
So I'm going to go
for sure. Yeah, for sure. I just think if there's this matchup, I don't want to play anyone else. There's no one else that I'm like, we've got a shot. The Bills, I can see a path. Now, we head to Sunday morning. We get, Sunday afternoon. We get Packers versus Eagles in Philly. Jalen Hurts is still in concussion protocol.
Yeah.
It's a week away. It's a week away. Yeah. He'll probably clear. And they probably did it so that there was no one like, oh, Jalen Hurts isn't playing in week 18. Probably left him in there to do that. Nonetheless, Packers versus Eagles. I still, like we talked about, am worried about the Eagles when they meet a team with an offensive pulse, and the Packers are not it. Because the Packers we watch them, and in a weird way, they just run the ball in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah.
They're not like Jordan Love. We talk about how he's just like this great passer and he's got a great arm, and he does. But we haven't seen him be that this year, really. We've seen them run the ball in a bazillion different ways and get guys all these different run looks and screens. To me, screens are runs at this point. But Jalen Reed, jet sweep, Jalen Reed out of the backfield, Jalen Reed. Like, we don't see Jalen Reed down the field, Devontae Wicks down the field. It's like we're just going to run the ball to like in a bunch of different ways, which isn't a bad thing. But the Eagles are completely equipped to deal with that. So this should be a landslide here. Most people probably don't think it is. It is. The Eagles should win this game handily.
I think Big Dom's going to show up probably like an hour, 30 minutes before the game starts. Entire duffel bag full of Jersey Mike subs.
Who's Big Dom?
You don't know about Big Dom? No. He's the reason why the Eagles are so good this year.
Okay.
Big Dom is literally the reason why Saquon went to Philly.
Okay.
All right. Everybody wants to be around Big Dom.
Okay.
Big Dom, it's what makes the city of Philly go. Right. Big Dom is brought down the crime rate by 10%. Okay. That's what Big Dom's done.
Okay, who's Big Dom?
He's like... He's the security guard.
Okay.
He's the security guard for the Eagles.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, but he's going to show up with Jersey Mike subs in a duffel bag. Mm-hmm. He's going to feed it to all the players. And they're
by hand.
Yeah, by hand. And Saquon's going to rush for 500. Jalen's going to throw for 300. A.J. Brown's going to have 5 touchdowns. All because of Jersey Mike's. This week's sponsor. Jersey Mike's. The more a man can get. Jersey Mike's. Give me the Eagles. Give me the Eagles.
All right. We head to Sunday night where we get the Buccaneers versus the Commanders. The Buccaneers got a home playoff game. They found a way to do it. And this is where the Cinderella run ends for the Commanders.
Oof.
They're not a real football team in terms of being able to stand up to somebody who doesn't crumble at the first sign of adversity. Mm-hmm. And they've won a lot of games in fluky ways this year. Go ahead and look at the Bears game. Hell yeah. The fact that Jaden can throw the ball that far, hell yeah. But if the Bucs are a seasoned team, they are Mike Evans, the defense, all these players are seasoned. They're not spring chickens. They don't have I was going to say they're not explosive, but Baker can get they're hot. They're hot. Mm-hmm. But I just worry that the Commanders are going to get down and then not know what to do with themselves. I mean, they played a Cooper rush down to the last second of the game. That's not like it's Cooper. It's the Dallas defense to an extent, but that's disheartening to me. Yeah. And the Bucs are just so explosive. When Baker starts grabbing his nuts and saying nasty things, it's over. Give me the Bucs.
Yeah, Jaden played Cooper Rush to last couple seconds. Mm-hmm. Bucs lost to Cooper Rush.
That's fair.
I can't believe I'm doing this.
But that was also the game in which he lost Chris Godwin on the final drive.
No, this was a different, maybe before, but the most recent time that they played the Cowboys, Chris Godwin had already been out for like 5 weeks or something like that. The most recent time. This was the Rachaad White fumble where it made a crazy play, threw it to Rachaad. Rachaad ran for 10 yards.
Yeah, that was
punched out.
Chris Godwin got hurt that game.
He was hurt a long time before that.
Okay, I'll check.
Yeah, you can check. I can't believe I'm doing this though. I really want Baker. I would love Baker in the Super Bowl. I would love Baker to be a Super Bowl champ. I'm worried about how sometimes they can dig themselves into holes, like we saw with the Saints, like we saw with the Cowboys, like we've seen with some of these bad teams, how it's just like everything's going wrong. You know, Rashad White's probably not going to play that much, so maybe that will solve it.
Yeah.
But in the second round, if they win, I'm probably going to take the Bucs. But in the first round, if they show me something else, like they show me this is playoff Bucs, then like I'll be amazed. But I'm worried about them digging themselves in a hole in a big game, so I'm going to take Commanders.
I don't love that.
I don't love it.
I don't love it.
I don't love it either.
Okay, Monday Night Football. We have the Vikings versus the Rams, the most star-studded 5 seed ever, and the 14-win 5 seed, just absurd. And then the Rams, who have a home playoff game. Yeah. I am concerned for the Rams. This game smells like a rout. The Vikings just got fucking embarrassed on national television in the most important game of the NFL season. Yeah. Justin Jefferson had 2 touchdowns, multiple touchdowns on multiple different occasions, go through his hands. Yeah. Jordan Addison didn't catch a ball that game. The customary Aaron Jones first half, great performance. Second half, I'm hurt. Yeah. The defense got fucking embarrassed too by Jahmyr Gibbs. And Kyren Williams can do that. He can be that guy. And Puka and Cooper are dogs.
You made a prediction about the Vikings, so you got to go one way.
I know. The Rams are hot as hell. I have concerns about their defense.
Yeah, 100%.
With the way the Vikings can explode, and like I was leading up to, they're going to be coming off that game hot and bothered. They are. It's setting up to be a really close game, and then all of a sudden, second half comes out, and like we get like Justin Jefferson deep ball, Jordan Addison deep ball, like Josh Naylor deep ball.
What we thought was going to happen versus the Lions.
Right. So I'm going to take the Vikings in this one, and they're going to upset the Rams by a seed, and it's indoors too. So that's, I mean, they're playing in their natural habitat.
I'm worried that the info's out on the Vikings. I'm worried that the film's out. Everybody knows how to beat the Vikings now. The Lions have given the route through the jungle on how to defeat the Vikings, and that's play a shit ton of man coverage.
Yeah.
Do I know if they have corners and safeties that can play a crap ton of man coverage, especially versus Justin Jefferson? No. Yeah. I don't know that much, but I am worried that there is now a path that somebody can follow to beat this team. And I don't know if they're going to be able to adjust that fast within a week to change up how that offense has been winning. So I'm going to take the Rams in this game.
Makes sense. I don't blame you. I think the other big thing about the Vikings that makes them special is, like I said last week, the Cinderella story was going to come to an end, but I think we're going to see him in the NFC Championship. And I think this was the chip on the shoulder that they needed. Yeah. And Cam Akers looked electric in the second half. So I don't love, and like, I don't know why, but this game that the Rams played against the Seattle Seahawks in LA where they won in overtime, I keep going back to that moment, and something about it is like, they shouldn't have been in overtime in that game. Yeah. I know it's so insignificant and it's just a random game, but I'm like, they shouldn't have been in over. Like, something about that game, just like, I keep coming back to it. I'm like, I don't trust it.
You don't trust it?
I don't trust it.
Yeah.
So, there we are.
Same feeling that you had about the Seahawks at the beginning of the year. You were just like, there's something about it I just don't like. Yeah. Don't trust. Just got to trust your balls in these scenarios.
Okay, let's pick our game. Do we want to do a single game to do a parlay, or do we want to do
a single game?
Single game? Okay. Yeah.
What's a game that, so we went through all of them. What's a game that we really didn't have that much to say about?
Packers-Eagles, kind of.
Packers-Eagles. Do you like that game? Do you have an idea of the parlay you'd like to set for that?
Yeah, sorta, kinda.
Which one would you love? Would you love to put a parlay together for?
I think that the Rams-Vikings is going to be just a fucking... I think it's going to be like 35-34.
Ooh.
Like, it's going to just be a scoring fest.
I like that. All right, let's go Vikings-Rams parlay.
Okay. I want, for sure, a Jay Jettis touchdown and a Kyren touchdown.
And Kyren touchdown?
Kyren's a machine with touchdowns.
Could we throw a Puka? Do you like a Puka over his yards or over receptions?
Receptions for sure.
Receptions?
Yeah.
Okay, so whatever the line is, over on that, what you're saying?
Well, we can do alts. If I'm going to go an alt, I'm saying at least 8 receptions, probably 9. Which one do you want to go with? 8 or 9 receptions for Puka?
I say we go big, we go 9.
9. All right.
Puka, so 9
we've
receptions.
Got Jay Jettis Tug, TD. We've got a Kyren TD. We've got a Puka 9+ receptions. Do we want any action on Cooper?
No, he's so unpredictable. You don't know when he's going to be. This would be a good game for him to go crazy, though.
Yeah.
What would you want if you're going to do a Cooper? What would you put?
I don't know, because you don't know, because it could be the same. Like, it could be like 7 receptions, or it could be 7 receptions and like 30 yards.
Yeah.
Or it could be like 8 receptions and 120.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't love the Cooper. What I really love after watching Jahmyr Gibbs tear the Vikings a new asshole is a Kyren for like 80+, 90+.
I feel good about that.
Yeah.
I do, because I think if there is any point in the game where the passing game is struggling, they're going to lean on him heavily.
Yeah.
Especially after that game.
Yeah.
Like I said, the formula to beat that team is out. You got to be able to run the ball, and then you got to, play man coverage if you want to beat them on defense.
Yeah. So what do you think? 80+ or 90+? How are we feeling?
I'm gonna go 80. I'm gonna go 80 for that.
I think so too.
Because there's also the world where, especially in the playoffs, you find what's working and you just do that.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we need 2 more legs here. I think.
Do you want to do Hawk? Hawk got a lot of balls.
I was gonna say, let's turn to the Vikings, and I think Hawk. I wish you could bet on targets.
Targets, yeah.
But it's receptions. I want to go, like, this one's kind of like a lower number in comparison to what we're talking about here, but I think they will undervalue what he'll be able to, like, the books won't pay attention to him.
Yes.
I feel like 40+ is free for Hawk.
For Hawk?
Yeah. 40+ reception or yards.
40 yards. He would have had 40 yards if he caught those balls.
Yeah. Yeah, he had 40. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, he did?
I think so. Let me double check.
Yeah, double check that.
2 receptions, 8 targets for 9 yards against the Lions. So I'm wrong. The last game he was against the Packers, 5 targets, 6 targets, 5 receptions, 68 yards. Then 27, then 52, 45, 28. And then 114.
Yeah, I'll take the 40 yards. I'd also take a receptions one. I take whatever you feel better with. Do you like, because he's gotten a lot of targets.
4+ I feel like will be kind of the breaking point. 4+, 5+. That'll be like, where do we want to go? Because 5+ feels like a stretch. 4 feels like we're gonna be on it. 6, he's gonna get 6 targets, 4 receptions, and 37 yards.
I like that. I like receptions more than the yards.
Okay, let's go Hawk.
Yeah.
4 receptions.
Big hacker.
All right. And then last one here. I think it's only right to put Jettas in this. He's gonna have I feel like he's gonna have a revenge game after that where he didn't have a great game.
Especially if they play zone, because they are electric in zone. It's just man coverage. And I want to say from a previous week that we've talked about the Rams, they play a lot of zone.
That's the thing, too, that I don't know if you're taking into consideration is just because the book's out on a team doesn't mean you have the personnel to do that.
True. Very true.
So that is another thing, that if they're a zone team just like we saw the Broncos against Cleveland, we're a man team.
Yeah.
If we're playing fucking zone and Levi Wallace is out on the field, we're chalked.
Yeah.
So you got to have the personnel to make an adjustment. So
how many yards, or you want yards or receptions?
I was thinking yards.
Yards?
For Jettas. Because if
like
they're playing zone, he's going to be 15 yards into the pattern. So, I mean, 4 or 5 of those, he's, we're talking about 80, 90 yards easy.
Do you want to do, 100 feels like too much.
Yeah.
I'm fine with 90 or 80.
I think he's going to end up with like 85.
85
so
yards.
I feel like 80 is a good floor.
Let's throw 80 up there.
All right.
Throw 80 on there.
Jay Jettas 80. Okay, there's our parlay.
Parlay to win $1 million.
Jay Jettas touchdown. Kyron touchdown. Puka 9 receptions. Williams 80+ rushing yards. Hawk 4+ receptions. Jay Jettas 80+ receiving yards. We have done it. We've done it. It shall come to life.
It's going to give us financial freedom.
There it is, guys. There it is, folks. I'm Devin. That's Zane. This is Buffet Sports, and it's down here on the screen. Go follow us on all this stuff. Go blow it up. See if we win money with the parlay. Make fun of me with my QB corner. All the stuff. Ka-chow, bitches.
When you subscribe, it makes my balls tingle.
Yeah, okay, good morning, afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in. Dropping heat like every season. Underdog like Willie Beeman. Classic like